So I have some friends who go to a born-again church, and one time their pastor was discussing the New Jerusalem. And then when they came and asked me about it, I, of course, responded that the New Jerusalem isn't an actual place as much as it is the church. And then they asked me, what then are the dimensions that John talked about? Like they say there are specific dimensions that John points to in Revelation, and what then would that be? And I didn't have an answer for them.
Okay. So, and the dimensions of New Jerusalem, and I don't have them in front of me, but my memory is that it's like 12,000 stadia or something like that, some multiple of 12 with thousands involved or myriads involved. A myriad is 10,000. And that of itself, there's sort of two factors that suggest that this number is meant to be symbolic. One factor is it's got the number 12 in it. And that automatically brings to mind the number of the disciples of Jesus, the original disciples, and also the number of the tribes of Israel. Also, it's got the number 1,000 in it, or myriad if I'm one or the other. Both 1,000 and myriad are known to be symbolic in the Bible of just a vast amount. Okay. For example, in the Psalms, it says God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. Well, there's more than 1,000 hills on earth. Does that mean God doesn't own the animals on some of them?
Yeah, right.
You know, no, it doesn't. So 1,000 in this case is just a symbol for a vast amount, which happens to be synonymous with all of the hills there are. So we have a combination of numbers in Revelation describing New Jerusalem that are known to be symbolic in other contexts. And that suggests that they're symbolic here, particularly if other things about the construction of New Jerusalem as described in Revelation would seem to be difficult to physically realize. Like one of them is it's a huge cube. And it's so huge, it would dwarf most structures on Earth. And I'm not talking buildings, but like continents.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So it's so vast that it would be hard to fit on the surface of the Earth in any sensible way. Also, even though it's got this enormous height, it has a teeny little wall around it. By comparison, it's this teeny little defensive wall. Yeah. So if it's really heaven and all suffering has been banished, why does it need a defensive wall? And if it does need a defensive wall, why is it so tiny compared to the overall structure? I mean, you'd want a wall that's higher than the things it's defending.
Right.
So these various factors suggest that this is not meant to be a literal description of an actual city. It's meant to be something else. Now, Robert suggested the church, and that's a good answer. I would say not the church as it is presently, though. It's not the church in its present state, although there's an aspect in which you could say the New Jerusalem is present already. But this is presented to us as the future glorified community of God's people. And so I would say it's the future, it's the end point of God's church once all of the evil in the world has been dealt with and every tear has been wiped away and God has renewed creation. So I would say it's the end point of all that, but that doesn't mean that we should expect there to be a physical city that has these exact dimensions, which are known to be symbolic and that would be hard to fit on Earth and that has weird things like a teeny defensive wall it shouldn't literally need, and that doesn't even measure up to the height of the things the wall would be defending.